everybody, and welcome to the Positively Disney Phone-In Podcast. I'm Kimberly Bouchard, your host of the podcast and the author of the Positively Disney book series, from where this show comes from. I want to welcome my Twitch followers as well as my Facebook folks out there. And hello, Donna. Thank you for joining me tonight. I appreciate you coming on here. Just to let you know that the banner, in case you may or may not have noticed, has been changed for the time from 4 to 4:30 Pacific time, 7 to 7:30 Eastern time. You know, I just couldn't get over my weekend. Things unexpected happened, actually, in a good way. And something I'm very grateful for is some friends here that have a place out in Whidbey Island that we went out to yesterday. And she's a particularly good friend. We actually share our love for Donald Duck. So I call her my Donald Duck buddy. And at any rate, she invited us out. She had a fresh salmon, and we went out and went kayaking. It was such a beautiful day. It was like probably one of the warmer days that we've had. And it kind of goes cold and warm in Seattle lately, so it's still early spring. But at any rate, we had such a lovely time, and it kind of brought back memories, because the last time I was kayaking was actually in Vero Beach, when we were staying at the Vero Beach Resort at Disney, and we wanted to do some kayaking. And we were going to kayak around the manatees and the turtles. And so the guide took my middle child, my husband took our youngest, and I took our daughter. And I can't even remember how old they were, but I think my daughter was probably about 11 or 12 years old at the time. And it was really cool, because they said, you know, for manatees, you have to be careful about how, if you've got a paddle, because you don't want to kind of stab them accidentally, or they'll think that you're playing with them and they'll kind of start bumping your kayak. And we did see some turtles spring up their heads and stuff like that. So I forgot actually how much I like kayaking. And there's lots of watercraft and water sports, as we talked about last week, around the Walt Disney World Resort. You know, for some of you guys overseas, I want to welcome Daniel, who's from the UK, and of course my hubby that joined me tonight, and a welcome to Mike that I can see join us. Thank you. My husband, as I had mentioned last week, was away, and he always brings me a little Disney back. And I'm really excited, actually, because I got a really cute, I kind of like bags. And this is kind of a purse bag, but it's actually, I hope you can see it. It says Bonjour Paris. And it's really cool because it's got the flag on the back. And what's really neat about this, that I've never seen before, is it's got a zipper. So you can make it as thin as you want, or you can open it up and make it thicker. So I just absolutely loved it. I thought it was really, really cute, and I can't wait to use it. I actually might use it tonight. I have to go out later tonight, but at any rate, I just think it's so much fun to have some Disney paraphernalia from wherever you go, really. If you're able to get something in a Disney store or Disney park other than your own. You know, last summer I had mentioned one podcast or another that I had started on the Run Disney virtual series, which I didn't even know that Disney offered, and it's sort of a 5K thing. And that really started me reevaluating some of my, I guess, health goals, if that sounds a little cliche, but I started doing the 5K, and I had a little bit of a hiatus for a couple of months, and I was frantically trying to finish the romance edition of the Positively Disney book series. But, you know, I ended up meeting a couple of other people that are regulars at the Run Disney series. One was a single mom. She had just retired from the military. She was getting her MBA. She's working full time as an accountant with a part of the military. She had 2 children that were special needs. And she just inspired me something fierce to be able to run. And another person that, and their story is actually in the second book, and another person, his name is Jeffrey Cantor. He was a fellow, I think Jeff at the time was about mid-50s. And his daughter ran periodically, and he's like, you know what, I'm going to give this a whirl. And long story short, this guy does a lot of the Run Disney events, Run Disney marathons and that. And I'll tell you, I'm really proud of myself today because I go in the fat burner mode, which makes it harder on a treadmill, but I actually managed a 12-minute mile, and I feel like crying because I'm not a runner typically, and it's hard. It's really hard to do, especially when you're hurting. It's hard to do and it's hard to push. But I'm really happy, and I'm actually going to do a 5K on the Disney Wonder when I go to Alaska next month with a whole bunch of folks. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that works. And I really would like to get more involved in Run Disney events, but that'll be in the future. It's not a big topic on health today, but I just wanted to share with you, we were going to talk a little bit about nostalgic Disney, and I do miss some of the old things at Walt Disney World. And some of you have been there and some of you haven't, but I wanted to just share with you, and any of you that are watching, if you want to call in and add a little bit to it, because I know that some of you have been locals around the area and have been there more times than I have for sure. But I really wanted to share with you some of the things in Epcot. And I know they're kind of trying to revamp Epcot. But do any of you guys remember the pavilion Body Wars? It was so awesome. And actually it sat, it was an attraction in the Wonders of Life pavilion that now sits between Mission Space and University of Energy. And I believe that they use it for sort of certain festivals or things like that. But, I want to tell you about the 3 attractions in there I remember specifically. And I thought it would be really cool if they could bring it back or do something like that. Before I go on, I wanted to welcome Diana to the show. Thanks, Diana, for joining us. So Body Wars, there was, it had the capacity of about 40 people in it, and it kind of moved you around like the Star Tours and what other one would be moving around like that? Anyways, so it moved you around a little bit, but the whole premise of it, which is really cool, was that was shrinking you. It was the Dr. Lair, her name was injected, miniaturized and injected into the patient's finger because he had a splinter. Just educating people on what your body does to come to its defense with the white blood cells and so on and so forth. Donna, you'd be brilliant at this and explain it far better than I because you're a nurse. But anyways, right. The really cool thing about it is it takes you on this whole journey as if you are in the bloodstream. Think about if any of you read The Magic School Bus to your kids or saw it on television, kind of like that, but it was like realistic. And it was so educational. I really loved it. And I thought it was just the really, really cool thing about it is that it gave you a chance to kind of feel a different experience and learn something at the same time. I'm all about that. I love the experience and the educational experience behind it as well. Hi, a quick hi to Nancy as well, who joined me. Another one of those attractions in Body Wars was more of a film type of a thing. It's a theater of I think there's about 150, 200 people that could be in the theater. It was titled The Making of Me. And it was a really, really lovely film about conception, and it was done very tastefully, and it was very fascinating to see the baby in utero, and it was just another part of the Wonders of Life. And the third attraction that was so much fun, and just it kind of reminded, now that I think back to it, if you think about the, what was the name of the film, the animation that just came out, and it was all about the feelings. Oh, Inside Out. Of course it is. Inside Out. Kind of reminded me of that now that I look back at it. So anyways, the attraction was a fellow named Buzzy, and he was piloting, and it was a little bit of, he wasn't as accurate in his things that he tried in life. So he's a little bit bumbling, and he was piloting the insides of a 12-year-old boy who experienced a variety of things throughout his day when he got up late for school, ran off without breakfast, met a girl, ended up in a food fight, and at the principal's office. And there was various characters that would voice the heart, the stomach, the adrenal glands, the right and left ventricle. They call it the logical left brain and the wacky right brain. And I'm not too sure why they call it wacky right brain, because I'm really right brain. So I'm not too sure why they do that, but that's your creative side of things. And anyways, it was just so adorable to see this character trying to maneuver. He was in charge of the whole thing going on in this 12-year-old's body, and he actually succeeds at the end, because the whole idea is to have for this 12-year-old to handle his stress. So anyways, it was just, I just really missed that. Eric has something to say. I'm actually just going to chat with my side guy here, because I can't see the comments as well on the big screen here. But welcome, Eric. And Eric just joined us. He says, I wonder if Inside Out will. I can't see all of the comments. If you could just slide them over, please. I wonder if Inside Out will ever have a presence in the parks with an attraction. Eric, that's a really good question, because wouldn't that have been brilliant to bring that into the pavilion and update? It would have been a great update for the Wonders of Life Pavilion in Epcot, for sure. I know that the whole premise is, the health thing, and something that was really fun in there that wasn't, it was not really something that you had to line up necessarily for, but it was this sort of cycling equipment or whatever that you go on, and as you were cycling along, you would see yourself as if you're a little race car at race car level, and where you go. And it was really cool, because you would be cycling as quickly or as slowly as you wanted or whatever, turning around, and as if you were in that little remote control car. So that was a lot of fun in there too. But I would love to see something like that brought back. I wanted to say hi to Donna Collins as well, who I noticed is on here as well. I just really hope that in their revision of Epcot, that they will try to keep some semblance of education. I know that it's not necessarily heading that direction, especially, now that they got rid of the Universe of Energy, which of course we all know that it was an older ride. As my husband would say, that would be his nap ride, because it was a good, I think, 25, 28 minutes. But at any rate, it's just something that I really hope that they keep Epcot sort of a little bit on the educational side, even in Future World. So that's kind of my thing about Epcot and some of the one of the older attractions. I don't know if anybody wants to share some vintage Disney that they can share with me, or if you would like to share an experience or a little story with me. The number is 844-483-4763. And another thing that I wanted to share with you about the Epcot pavilions. Does anybody remember Horizons? And Horizons kind of look like the big white, kind of like a pyramid kind of. It had a pointy, sort of like a big top, pointy horizon. I can't even explain it, but any of you that have been there would know that Epcot also had Horizons that was debunked now. But it was really interesting. One of their premises in that was the whole thing: if we can dream it, we can do it. And it was a very much futuristic ideologies. And you think about it, it was 16 plus years ago. And it's really interesting to see what the Imagineers had figured was going to be in the future, which is now, compared to what they thought back then. Some of the things, we have obviously done and surpassed, but there's other things that we haven't even, touched upon. And the thing about that whole experience was you would be in an omni mover, it's called, kind of like the People Mover, and you would experience a variety of different I guess worlds or whatever. And I'm actually going to just hold that thought for a minute, and I'll take this call. Hello, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you tonight?
I'm great, thanks. Who am I speaking to?
This is John in Florida.
Oh, welcome, John. How is the weather in Florida today?
Well, I told someone it feels like it's July and August.
Oh, really? That hot already? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was. I was in Tampa today and back with a friend, and just the heat over there, and then the heat back here, and then the radiated heat off the asphalt was just like an oven baking you.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. Well, at least hopefully it'll be a little bit cooler in the night, but I know it doesn't cool down that much, does it?
No, not right now. We're pretty much headed, into our summer. So
yeah, for sure.
We get one day of winter and then one day of spring and then 363 days of summer.
Yeah, that's about right, isn't it? Oh gosh. So do you have a Disney something to share with us, an experience or a story, John?
Well, I enjoyed hearing about, the making of me and some of those things that used to be in. Also what was the one with the veggie fruits?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that was, I can't even remember where that was, but I do remember that as well. And it was that whole educational spin, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was that whole nutritional thing there that went on, and the refrigerator door open and the milk would sing and the vegetables and the fruits would sing, and it just was really cute. And
it was. I
liked it all, and then I was really sad, and then you passed that area, where the making of me used to be, and it was just just dark in there, nothing going on, and I just thought it was a shame that they actually closed it down.
I know, because it's something, with a whole the health mindedness of our society now. I just think it would have been such a wonderful fit and a very easy update to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and as you said, even like, the making of me, it was presented, very well, very, very soft, very approachable to about any level of family. So,
sure.
Just the way it was all done. And I thought that was always a cute movie. I always enjoyed it.
I did too. And, we brought our kids to it as well. When we realized that, this is okay, of course, and I really, it's something that I honestly believe that if they did bring the pavilion back somehow and revised it and maybe incorporate some of the inside out stuff, I think they'd have a hit. I really think they'd have a hit on their hands.
Yeah, I think they could take, the characters from inside out and even, just revamp it and make it fresh and do all that over again. And I really think it would be a big hit. And I think the kids would absolutely love it.
Oh, I agree. I totally agree. Especially the fact that, there is a real need for us to keep our kids who are so, computer oriented now. There are a lot of sedentary children out there. And I think that it would just bring attention to different things, not only to them, but to their parents too, and I think it's just another nice way of introducing health and fitness to the younger ones. And as I say, I'm not a huge guru on that, but I really believe that, if you're going to have a long life, you need to be healthy and you need to make make something. It starts when you're younger, really, and conform. But I really love that idea of the Inside Out, and it was good timing for the animation as well, because there's a lot of people that need, young people especially, they have a lot of stress in their life, and well, we all do, really. But just kind of gives I thought it was really cute, a very cute animation, and yeah. It would be neat. Maybe we need to get a hold of the powers that be there and make that suggestion, John.
Oh, if everyone listening, would do their part and write letters. I've written letters and asked, for certain things to, come back and whatnot, and to make, all sorts of things more accessible. And one of my biggest complaints is, I'm in a wheelchair, but you cannot load from a wheelchair into a flight ship, Peter Pan. They cannot stop the ride.
Oh.
I've only ridden that ride twice in 18 years.
So
you have to have special permission. You have to do it at a certain time when they either just as they close the park or just before they open the park. That they'll actually, if they want to do it. I can't say that they have to do it, but
right.
If you can get them to do it, they'll actually let you, have a ride on it. But it's a very special request, and it takes supervisors and signatures for it to be done.
Really? Oh my goodness. Well, I'm glad you got on that ride. I know that it's hard for me to get on the ride because it's so packed. But you said something I thought was interesting. If Disney did bring something like that back, that some of us would be familiar with it, obviously with a pavilion like that, but bringing something back is also something new for all those other generations that never got to see it, right? So
exactly.
Yeah, so it would be new nostalgia, I guess, in a way for us, because having it updated or whatever, oh, that would be so fun. Oh, I couldn't even imagine. That'd be great.
Yeah, because I think, the community core area of Epcot is really outdated, and it's just, I really don't care to even go through community core area anymore, because it's like I've been there and done that, but it wasn't thrilling to me.
Yeah. Well, I know that something that I found with Epcot, as it changed, it's been the slowest park to change, and it doesn't all have to change, but it's actually now become one of our favorite parks. It's a lot of walking for sure. And if you're in a wheelchair, that's a lot of wheeling around. But I know that there's something about Epcot that is so appealing. I don't, and anywhere you are in the world, if you hear the music with the same kind of intonation or tone of the Epcot, I'll call it theme song or whatever background theme song, it brings back that instant memory. And I think it's really neat how you can get those instant memories, be it from a smell or the background music or whatever, right? When you are somewhere else.
Yes, the World Showcase, it's absolutely beautiful. When you get through Community Core and you step into World Showcase, there is just a really neat feeling there. And it's a very pleasant walk around, even though when you get around France and the UK, that hill is very steep for wheelchairs. I got to get someone to push me up that hill. But going down, it's a nice free fall.
Yeah. Because if you're going up, you're going to go down on the other side. I love the World Showcase, and it's so funny because we're Canadian, and even every single time we still have to go to the Canadian Pavilion, and I love to see the movie, and I love to see who is what cast member is there from what part of Canada, and it's just fun. It's just kind of a wee bit like home. So yeah, I do really enjoy that place, and we'll look forward to the things to come for sure. Thank you, John.
Years ago, the Canadian students, they got the most compliments for being the most sincere and the most kind to guests.
Oh, isn't that well? There you go. I know. Us Canadians have a wee bit of a reputation, and I always say, well, when you live so far north, you really, I think it kind of evolved because you had to get along with your neighbor to stay warm for the winter, and so I think it's kind of been a little bit like that. We've evolved. We have to be, not have to be, but that's just kind of one of our things. We happen to be a bit jolly. But anyways, thank you, John, so much for calling in. It was lovely to hear from you, and keep writing those letters. And now I'm going to suggest that the whole Body for Life with an inside out twist. That would be really, really great, I think.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Kimberly, thank you so much for letting me speak to you, and we'll talk later, and I enjoy your show.
Oh, take care. Thank you so much, John. Okay, bye for now. I just wanted to welcome Jamie and Heather and Leanne and Hallie to the show tonight. Eric said, I don't think Guardians of the Galaxy is a good fit at Epcot. I can't even remember, Eric, where they are going to put it. I mean, it is futuristic in that, and I'm wondering if they will have a tie-in for something educational. I don't know. I'm not too sure. But I guess we'll see how that unfolds, really. One thing I was going to mention, I was just briefly talking about Horizons, which was kind of interesting because I think you can check out some of these older attractions and things like that on the internet. I mean, everything's on the internet. But something I noticed about that is they actually used, and I can imagine my husband's eyes rolling, that song in Carousel of Progress, A Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow. Part of that song was actually in that attraction. And they were using, robots to do a shave and doing all the housework and that. And I mean, our robotic technology is through the roof now compared to what they were thinking about back then. But something that was really, I thought, interesting is that they were introducing desert farming, under the sea living, like colonization under the sea and colonization out in space. And they showed sort of a rendition of their kind of space, not a space station, but more of for a colony. And it was very fascinating, some of the stuff that I had seen on that, because we are not even near that yet, I don't think, unless I'm in the dark about it. But it was really interesting the way it was introduced. And I really loved that. And what they did also is they, in the Epcot ball, when you're doing the, oh gosh, what's the name of the Epcot ball?
Spaceship Earth.
Spaceship Earth, thank you. When you're in Spaceship Earth, you get to choose sort of different lifestyles and things like that, and then they'll show a little animation of what things could happen. Well, interestingly, in the Omni vehicle that you're in, there are 3 choices that you can take a path of being in. A desert colonization, the undersea colonization, space colonization, and there's several of you in there, and I guess it's like the most pick, the majority wins kind of thing. And then you were taken on a little ride, again, sort of like Star Tours, but you're not moving, just the screen is moving, but it does give you the idea of how it would feel in a certain colony. And I thought it was really cool. So I do wish they would kind of bring some of that stuff back. And I know Walt had a vision of that initially was supposed to be a real place to live. Epcot was supposed to be, his initial ideas was for a place, it was called Experimental Prototype of Tomorrow. Community of Tomorrow. There you go. Good thing I have my right-hand man here to fix me up every once in a while. But I just, I really loved that vision. And it's really hard to believe, like a lot of those pavilions closed down over a decade ago. And I just, I look forward to what is to come, but I would love to see just a little bit of some of the old stuff brought back. Anyways, I think that I will, if I have time for one more call, if you'd like to call in at 844-483-4763. Again, something that I have always enjoyed is having you guys join me on either on the phone or on your comments and things like that. And I really enjoy writing your story. So if you do have a story that you would like to share with me or an experience, you can also reach me by email. And my email address is Kimberly. But please remember that Kimberly, Kimberley, at positivelydisney.com. And I would be happy to chat with you. One thing I wanted to share with you as well before we go for tonight is I have shown you this book a little bit, and it's called Disney Astrology, and it's just a fun little book. And it's got different dates and it's got different characters. And today is one of my favorite. I love elephants. Oh my gosh. Last week I loved turtles. I think I was talking about turtles with somebody on the podcast. But today is about Dumbo. And if May 7th is your birthday, I actually know two people that are having birthdays today. You are affectionate, trusting, and talented. And your magical gifts, and well, my magical gift is not reading without glasses, so I got to put my glasses on for a minute. But your magical gifts, if today's your birthday, Dumbo bestows the gifts of faith, resiliency, and guidance. When you feel stuck, Dumbo encourages you to look at the situation from a higher perspective. Your keys to your success, knowing that you are exceptional. And you know, that little film, that came out in 1940. Dumbo was created in 1941. That was just about 3 years after my mom and dad were born. It's hard to believe that Dumbo's been around for so long. And I kind of wonder if those animators that worked on that would really think that their film would last that long. Like, that is incredible how long that has been amongst us and still adorable. You can still buy things in the Disney stores, that little stuffies of Dumbo, and really, really lovely film. And the original kind of way that Disney created the film with a lot of 2D drawing and the cell work, the special cell work that they did for the films was absolutely amazing and fantastic. And I'm going to tell you just a little tidbit here before we go. So I do have a chance to interview so many folks from all over the world. Love you guys, that get some of the guests and cast members and some of the Disney artists. And I'm very fortunate that I've gotten to know some of the, some are still animating for Disney and some of the former animators. And there's something called the Vault at the Walt Disney Studios in California. And these are all the original cells that these guys worked on for these movies like Snow White and Sleeping Beauty and Dumbo and that. And animators have the opportunity to take these out, to view them. They used to be able to take them out and bring them home and study them. Can you imagine? I can imagine. This is just amazing. But there have been so many opportunities for these people to teach others and inspire others in the future. And I think if we are able to inspire someone to do something, even by like a little comment or just something, you don't even have to know the person. I think it's kind of neat that we have that capacity to do that. Just as we have the capacity to bring somebody down, we do have the capacity to bring somebody up. So I'm just going to challenge you guys this week to see if there's something that you can say or do in a positive way that will impact somebody. And you may or may not ever know what that is, but I'm just going to set that out as a challenge. At any rate, I'm going to have to say a good night tonight. It's a little bit past our half hour. I hope to see you all next week at the same time for our 27th show, and it's still in the baby infant stages, I'll tell you, and I'll be celebrating when I get to that 50 mark and the 100th mark. I think that'll be really cool, but that will be next year for sure. For the 50, and we'll see about the 100th. But anyways, thank you so much, you guys, for joining me tonight, and have a wonderful week. And I do hope that you guys have a great evening for the rest of the evening tonight, and be safe, everybody out there. Take care. Good night. Bye for now.